Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to everyone's favorite short show on the internet. This is Storytime with Jimmy, where longtime WWE referee Jimmy Korderas shares all kinds of tales from his amazing career. My name is Donnie De Silva, and Jimmy, last week on the show, you told a really great story about the time when Dynamite Kid suffered a career-ending injury in the ring, and you became his chaperone. You became his guide to take him from Hamilton, Ontario, back to Calgary, and you had to accompany him. I'm thinking that when you got to Calgary, and you mentioned last week that you met up with a pair of Hart sisters, there may have been another Hart that you encountered on that trip.
Oh, how could I forget? I can kick myself right now. That was the trip where I met Stu Hart for the very first time. They introduced me to Stu, and anybody who knows Stu is when you shake hands with him, he does shake very firmly.
Like he does the opposite of the worker handshake.
I mean, it's a crushing handshake. I guess he's testing you. I guess, and I'm going to do the bad Stu Hart impression, but hey there, Tiger. Yeah, so you work for Jack, eh? And I said, yes, sir, I do. He said, are you a worker? I said, no, sir, I'm not a worker. And then he made me an offer that I had to refuse. Well, if you ever decide you want to train, become a worker, let me know. I'd be happy to train you, Tiger. And I'm like, oh, thank you very much, sir. I very much appreciate that. And I was like, gee, I'd heard stories.
He just couldn't resist seeing a fresh human being without dragging them into that basement.
Oh, they always used to rib the big guys who'd come into Calgary for the first time and have never met him.
Yeah.
Because he'd come to all the shows in Calgary. I remember Tugboat, Fred Ottman.
Yeah.
When he was Tugboat. First time he met Stu, he's like, to all the guys, he's like, oh my God, is that Stu Hart over there? The guys are saying, yeah, you've never met him? No, I never met him. Go over there and introduce yourself. Make sure you shake his hand. And, he goes over. Yeah, really? Yeah, go over there. Yeah. So he walks over and he's like, hello, Mr. Hart. My name is Fred. I wrestle under Tugboat. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. He says, you're a big fella there, Tiger. While he's shaking his hand, he goes, has anybody ever showed you this? And he does this thing with his hand. He manipulates it, and he's on one knee, like, oh my God. He says, you can like really break someone's thumb like this. And he's going through all this stuff. Oh man, that's just Stu,
It's so funny. I think I shared with you the other day when we were out for a beer, and I said, I never had Stu slap anything on me, but I did once ask Owen if he could show me Stu's famed sugar hold. And I was screaming for mommy within about 3 seconds.
See, so when I met him there, I hadn't begun refereeing yet. So I didn't know what my career path was going to be in wrestling, had no idea.
Right.
And every encounter I had with Stu after that, every time I was in Calgary or wherever he happened to be, I was refereeing. But he'd always said the same thing. Hey, Tiger, have you thought about it? Thought about training? I'll bring you down to the dungeon, show you a few things. And I went, oh, gee, no, sir. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. But I really like refereeing. Okay, but I could still teach you a few things in case things get out of hand out there. I said, oh, I appreciate that. I may take you up on that. And then I disappear somewhere in the bowels of the building.
Running away as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what a legend. I only ever had, I think, one face-to-face encounter with Stu, and it was very, very brief. But what an absolute legend. And it used to be, Jim, we talked about this the other day when we were having a drink. It used to be that every single person in the wrestling business had a pretty good Stu Hart impression.
Mm-hmm.
But now, as we are years and years and years removed from the gentleman's passing, those impressions are becoming fewer and fewer because there's fewer and fewer people that remember what he sounded like or that had personal dealings with him. But
absolutely,
a true one of a kind character, right? It's impossible to tell the story of Canadian wrestling. It's impossible to tell the story of the territories And it's impossible to tell the story of so many great wrestlers, Canadians and Americans and international stars, without talking about the impact from Stu Hart.
Absolutely. He is responsible for training and mentoring so many talents, and even the other trainers that he had there were of the Stu Hart mentality. I mean, like the list goes on and on.
I feel like there might be more Stu Hart Storytime episodes on the horizon. We could probably manufacture a couple more. Ladies and gentlemen,
so.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Jimmy, it's been a lot of fun. If you guys want to hear anything from Jimmy Korderas in terms of what was it like when this happened, tell me a story about this particular incident or this specific match, he'll try to remember, and we'll try to put together an episode for you. If there's a particular wrestler or personality that Jimmy may have encountered that you want to see if he has a story about, just get at us. Questions at hugepopradio.com. Thanks, pal.
You got it, buddy. Thank you.